again, folks. It's 11:44 a.m. Friday, July 13th, 2018. I don't know if you need a day stamp or not. It all depends on who you are and how picky you are in the future, whoever watches this. And I don't mean tomorrow in the future. About when I was talking about something. I told you a lot of the stuff I do when it has to do with our friends, ET friends and stuff. I'll put a time stamp on there and show it to you so you have some kind of proof. I was going to do a long video that had important stuff for people who really want to understand what's going on. It's a summary of a lot of things I've said, but not completely that. It's more than that. There's other new stuff in it. It's about what is, what was, what's coming, and how it'll stay. I was going to do that video a while ago, but it never got done. And we're going to talk about Saturn here in just a second. This is going to be as short a video as possible. There's been a lot of stuff going on over here at the house, personal stuff like getting things fixed, the roof. We needed to do something, we had to have the new roof modified, AC and stuff like that, a whole new house AC system, and there's other things we're putting together and doing with other folks. So it's been kind of nuts, and you know, I'm getting closer to being able to leave this body, so there's that too, to make doing what I want to do when I want to do it, well, impossible actually, but all you can do is the best you can do. Okay, moving along. And I just dropped what I was talking about. But there are things coming that are major. Creation's changing, believe it or not. There's no one to think. Things are being corrected. You make a mistake. When I was a kid, we used to use pencils, number 2 pencils with erasers on the end of them. And if you made a mistake, you used the eraser to erase and you kept going. Nobody started praising erasers. There's a flow of things the way they should be and shouldn't be. And that's changing. Anyway, let me get away from that and go to Saturn. I've talked about a Saturn station for a long time. I don't know how many years, don't know, don't care. I've been talking about it for years. There's a huge station around Jupiter, and it was moving towards, and then it started moving towards Saturn. It's kind of in between the two, but it's been closer to Saturn for a while now. Oh hell, I don't know how many years, but anyway, it's always been in between the two of them. But Saturn, the reason why it's closer now, there was a ruling council in Saturn, and they were aggressive, abusive, had a lot of issues. They were destroyed. Their base of operations was dismantled. Some of it physically shaken apart. And as soon as that happened, then all of a sudden the space station knew it was safe to get closer to Saturn without having issues from the others that was in there. There was a council, mostly reptilian, strong Anunnaki leader that was in Saturn, running the 7 Anunnaki clan, the ruling 7 Anunnaki clans, and all the others here on Earth. They've been around a long time. Anyway, so the Saturn station got closer, and then there's always been two warehouse depots. It's like a space station, but when you go to it, it's more like a bulky warehouse. There were even things years ago where people were talking. As a matter of fact, there's I think there's one Secure Team 10 where they but it was on the internet in a few places where they talked about some huge spaceships being seen around Saturn. Well, that's two floating warehouses, and the biggest one of those three objects over there was the space station. Okay. This ruling council that was there, like I said, they've been deleted. You might call it an assassination, whatever you want. I did videos about it when it happened. People think that spirit, people are still running around with this ghost thing. Well, I understand, they don't know. That's one of the reasons I had to make people stronger, introduce all this stuff to get something else more important started. Y'all's awakening, becoming yourself. Okay, there's no sticker that's got my face on it. There's a mirror that's got you in it. That's where this is all going. This is where it's been going since I started doing it. And that's how we all grow as a family. Number one is yourself, becoming your real self, developing your abilities, and then we grow from there. There's no God, there's no king, there's no El Presidente. There's a group of beings working together. So Saturn, those two warehouses it's like a depot, but it's a warehouse you come in and out, okay? You might think of it as like a huge warehouse store, a Costco or something, or Sam's, where people come in and get stuff and then they leave again. It's like that, but with huge space ports and everything built in. These things are big, they're huge. Depending on what you want, you enter it in a different location. And your starship. They shut down as soon as as soon as the drought came in, and the Anunnaki had already been taken off shut down here on Earth. So they got raided by the good guys. The Alliance of Planets came in. Their fleet took over. I told you things were going to change. They already are. You'll find out more about it later. Believe what you want. It's your free will. You have more. 98% of you have 98% of your free will now. You didn't have 10-11% before, because you had those primary angels hanging all over you, going right straight down in your head, going down into the hypothalamus, and if they told you you needed to run through the wall, you knew you had to, and you would, and then after you did it, you say, what the hell happened? Why did I run smack into this cement wall? Anyway, getting back to Saturn. So anyway, there's some stuff in there. There's the Alliance, the Alliance of Planets, which is now the Alliance of Life, has taken over, and it's just sorting everything out. What I had forgotten, and I just remembered again now, is that the Alliance of Planets has become the Alliance of Life, because now there are two spirits at a body, spirit, okay? It's not a semi-dimensional creature, it's people when they're not in a physical body. That's what spirit is, sentient energy. You're not that body. You look in the mirror, you see your face, that's the body style and paint job of the vehicle you happen to be driving, having a life in. Look inside your eyes. Look inside the eyes. Look right inside the pupils. What you see and feel, that's you. Okay? That's the driver. That's you. Anyway, so the other side, who you are when you're not in a body, they have their own council that's getting put together soon. Okay? It's not going to happen until I get out of here. Then they'll put the councils together. They'll be approved, and they'll just that side, who you are when you're not in a body, will be communicating directly with all of you in a body. The way things are today, and you know this looking around, everyone is out there running around having a life. They don't even know who they are. They're in no way self-aware. I know who I am. Don't you dare say that. No, bull crap. You don't really, and it was made so you wouldn't. Hell, it's not your fault. It's done to you. I'm here to start shit, and I did. And I've pretty much finished it. I get excited. I get some energy for a minute, and then lungs kick in. Should I say out? Anyway, so that's how creation is going to get along and know things. But before that becomes common knowledge to everyone, you're going to learn about all the different people from so many different planets. I need a regulator. Keep me calm down. I'm just upset at the way things were made. I understand why. And the changes that have to come will, but anyway, you will learn that we have friends from other planets. They're here. They've been here forever. We have people living inside this planet before we were. Call America, the Americans, blah, blah. The only real Americans, you might say, are the American Indian. Some of the most downtrodden and abused people on the planet. And then what do you have? Well, the Nantids were here before them. And then you break it, you go down to the beginning of it. This Earth belongs to herself, Gaia. The planetary universal essence that was put inside this planet when it was still forming. Again, that's the importance of these books I wrote. And yes, we're going back to Saturn real quick. All these books I wrote. Creation Series, Volume 1. Creation, its beginning and your origin. How creation started. All believe in Genesis in the Bible. Buddy, you can believe in the Easter Bunny picking your nose. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, fine, love you. You're not hurting anyone, and hopefully not hurting yourself. Great, you're on your own journey. Who the hell am I to say what you should and shouldn't do, so long as you're not hurting anyone? I never will. I'll back you up. So things are just going to change so much, and that's another video, but it's going to get crazy good. And anyway, I got to back away from that. That's the next video. But back to Saturn. I put out a video a few days ago. I can't remember days and stuff like that anymore. I always had a hard time with that, but now it's senseless. I just can't do it. But it wasn't long ago I put out a video about this council in Saturn. These are folks from other planets. It's the controlling party that is involved in this thing. They're pretty much finished rebuilding it. The dome was even tore up. Okay, it had some damage in it. And then it's also built inside the planet itself in like tunnels and levels. And now that's a city that's built into a planet, much more so than anything here on Earth. Anyway, so now there's business members, alliance of life council members that come in and out. They've got 2 seats. I didn't know until I just now looked. They got 2 seats on the on this council. And what this council does is it helps regulate the movement of supplies and needs and functions, not just to Earth, but to anywhere in the solar system. Anything going on in the solar system, the information for it comes there to Saturn. And then from there, decisions are made and things will flow as best as they can for everyone. The Drak, there's a lot more than just the Drak, but the Drak have ships. If they wanted to take out Jupiter, they could blow it up. There's a ship that broke up, a Drak ship, that broke up into smaller parts. In our solar system, I don't know how long ago, maybe a year ago or something, I don't know. I made a video of it. And when it first came here, it was in one piece. It was just under the size of the Earth. It was the size of Venus. That's huge. We are literally, as far as our ability to influence things around us, we are literally the ants in a playground, the ants in a playbox, sandbox. And that's good. And the Drak are not overly aggressive, just don't mess with them. You might think of a 20, if you've done any framing or carpenter work, you know, if you're doing roofing or something, you want to pound in a nail, you get a 22-ounce hammer. Well, them fixing something, when they get mad, they use a 100-pound hammer. They're the ones that protect. Them and the Drak and the Nantids both have folks covering Saturn. There's nothing that'll be able to take out Saturn. Nothing is protected. Like, it's protected with the strongest force there is in this dimension, the 3rd dimension, and the one right above us, the 2nd one. Well, that's protected there too. Never before in creation have you been free. Have you had so much free will without those original angels, the original first being servants? Without them making you do whatever they wanted you to, whatever the original first being male and female told them to do to you. You've never been free of that. And then now, you're not just free from not having free will, but you're going to be able to find out and stay aware of who you are and what's going on the other side. Where you are when you're not in a body, the other side is the 2nd dimension. From people that are there talking with everyone else. We have folks here that are friends from other planets. For them, it's like newspapers, like a newspaper used to be here. Now, like computer monitors are. They have their own monitors where they see and read energy. They can see spirit talk to you, even though there's nothing next to you in a chair. Spirit can be there. You might not, unless you use your med abilities, you won't be able to see him, or maybe through the corner of your eye only. And they'll be there talking. So where you used to be kept in the dark and pushed around, forced around, abused, now you're free. You'll have someone keeping you away from the edge of the cliff, okay? And then you can just run around the field. There's a road, but you're not forced to stay on the road. You just, as long as you don't get near the cliff, that's all. So, where it used to be that you were beat up and being put in the body is like you waking up in a jail cell after you fell asleep. and you woke up on another planet in a jail cell where you didn't even know it was another planet because there's no windows. You're stuck. You don't know what the hell's going on, who you are, and you're abused. That's gone. Now you're going to find out. Now you're going to, when you have your next life, you'll be in a body. You'll find out, okay, I'm in a body, but there's the other side. Those of you that are in this life, and this is only a few years away, you're going to become aware. Lesson 10. Whoa, sorry, jerked myself from inside. Just jerked my body to say it. Lesson 10 years from now, you're going to know that the other side's real. That's where you come from, because there's going to be people on the council. And some of you are going to be seeing on display screens from some of these ships exactly what that spirit looks like. And when you see it, a lot of you are going to, most everyone is going to say, oh, look at that. You know, oh my God, it's some spirit, multidimensional being. It's you when you're not in the body. What do you call a ghost? A person that's not stuck in a body in the second dimension. Anyway, like in those ghost shows, when you the ghost hunters, whatever, you see all those orbs. They're people. Dan and I were trying to relax it. There's a lot going on over here. We're trying to get things set up, and this body of mine just gets worse every day, which is good. But we need our little moments where we're doing nothing just to relax. Maybe have a glass of wine. If it's been a bad day, maybe a drink. I'm not condoning that either. You just be you. But just remember that doing regular hard drugs and smoking weed, as much as I used to like that when I was a kid, that messes up your abilities, your metabilities. Metabilities being metaphysical abilities. I have to keep things simple, so I just kind of shorten things to make it easier. So you're going to understand soon that when you're in a body having a life, you're aware of who you really are, what you're like when you're not in a body. You're going to become aware of who you are. You're going to realize that you're having a life. Like just like if you went cross country, if you went to a college that was, or a school that was on the other side of the country, you could still go home. You could still call home. You could still Skype. You don't forget who you are. You remember. Think about what that would be like right now. Well, wait a few years. That's what's coming. Again, pulling back to Saturn, the major decision, there's, as I mentioned in another video, there's mining going on different planets, and once you learn how to feel and see energy, you can go to every planet in the solar system. You go look at Pluto. There's no life inside it. There's no spirit inside it. There's the energy to maintain cohesion within the stone. Within Pluto's body, but there's no living energy inside it. There's no spirit, sentient energy. Look at Saturn, what do you see? Look at Mars, look at Jupiter, look at Neptune. See what you see. So Saturn, like I said earlier, if you look at it, if you look at the rings of the major bodies that are in our solar system, there's 6, starting from the sun outwards, there's 6 rings, then there's Saturn, and then there's 6 more rings. And when I say rings, I should say orbits. There's 6 orbiting, there's 6 masses, large masses orbiting the sun. Then there's Saturn, and then there's 6 more. My ability to see and function physically is strong. It's just the conscious mind, the brain, it's not doing too good. Anyway, so it's seen that it's somewhat centrally located. It's like the hub. So that's what's going on with Saturn. And those ships, there's two huge warehouses, receiving stations, whatever, that orbit the planet, and then there's also the space station and kind of hanging off it a bit. And those other, I just said, the two warehouses orbiting the station. Sometimes they go close to that, sometimes they come farther off. Sometimes they're just out of the way, just outside of orbiting. It all depends on what's going on. And exactly what, hey, I'll tell you what I see and know. I'll tell you what others tell me when I talk to them. And I don't mean people in the body. I'm talking about, the folks that are actually doing it. A lot of people used to ask me, what do you think about what this guy says and that guy says? I don't have time for that. I'm no better than them, but I'm doing what I know, and I don't have time to talk about what other people are doing, and then that's like a criticism of what they're doing. So, what do they call those people that criticize other people? They have nothing to say other than to criticize others. They criticize movies. They criticize whatever. I can't remember. But they're like commentators giving their own opinion. I'm not telling people, running around telling people they're right or wrong, unless it's something that's really important to everyone to wake up. Otherwise, I don't care. Or sometimes there's been a couple people that want to try to play hardball with me, and I just shut them down hard. I'll go into their personal lives and say something going on. All I got to do is say one or two words without totally exposing them, and then they stay away, because there's no way I could know that. Critics. That's what it is. Critics. They criticize others, which immediately they're telling you that their opinion is the only right one. Yeah. Anyway, remember, our truth is what we've come up with in our own minds. And your minds have never been as free as they are now. And the more information you gather, the better decisions, the more complete decisions you can make about what how you feel, or what you think your truth is, or what your truth is at the time. So that changes too. And you were never stupid. You continue to gather information. So Saturn, you're going to find out about Saturn. And like I said, it's less than 10 years away. So everything's going to change. Everything's already changing on the other side. There is no God. All there ever was the first being. God lonely split itself into two parts that similar but a little bit different, male and female, and they were so lonely they started this creation of abuse, and that's over. Now it's changing. What was controlling it is over, but changing what they built, no, that takes time. But it's already started. Now I have to do a video here in just a minute about why the bodies are changing. We're all going to live as spirit bodies, and not just as spirit, sentient energy, but a condensed form that is an actual body. That's where everyone's going to be. And who's dying off first and who's leaving, what's going to be around that's solid matter. I'll explain that in the video. And then there's another video too about it's a quick summary, as quick as I can make it. Summary of what's been going on and what's about to happen and why it had to be like that and what to expect. And this is relative to everything, everywhere, but it has a lot to do with your personal lives. Well, that's the main thing about Saturn I wanted to get out there. You hear about starships and stuff around Saturn, big starships. That's the large space station and the two whatever, I had the right word earlier. It's like floating warehouses, but it's more than that. There's plenty of places for people to come and land. It's a space station made for moving cargo, but it's going to be regulated there. The old council that used to be there, they told the ruling Anunnaki clan what they were going to do relative to certain things. They didn't have full control of them, but the 7 clans here on Earth, if they messed with the folks, the Anunnaki running that council on Saturn, then they would have trouble that they couldn't take care of. So anyway, that's the thing about Saturn, and a little more that's coming up in a couple of videos I still have to do. Folks, love you, man. Take care.